Hello viewers and my students, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss Shakespeare's sonnet number 18. This set contains 30 important MCQs from Shakespeare's sonnet number 18 and also from the history and gradual evaluation of sonnet. So let's start. Number 1. Sonnet was originated by. The options are Dante, Petrarch, Giacomo da Lentini, Thomas Wade. We know that sonnet was first written in Italy and it was originated by Giacomo da Lentini. So the right option is C, Giacomo da Lentini. Next, number 2. The Italian sonnet is divided into dash parts. We know that sonnet is a lyric poem of 14 lines written in iambic pentameter. An Italian sonnet falls into two parts, that is, the first 8 lines it is called octave and the remaining 6 lines it is called sestet. So the right option is obviously B, 2 parts, that is octave and sestet, 8 lines and 6 lines. Next, number 3. Dante's sonnets are addressed to. We know that Dante wrote sonnets addressing to his lady love named Beatrice. So the right option is B, because all his sonnets are addressed to his lady love named Beatrice. Next, number 4. The word sonnet etymologically means, options are a poem of 14 lines, a little sound, a lyric, a prose. We know that sonnet was originated in Italy and it comes from the Italian word sonetto, meaning a little sound or song. So the right option is B, a little sound. Next, number 5. English sonnet concludes with a or an. The options are quatrain, triplet, sestet, couplet. We know that English sonnet has 4 parts, 3 quatrains and a couplet. So it concludes with a couplet. So the right option is D, couplet. Now let's see English or Shakespearean sonnet. It has total 4 parts. First quatrain, that is first 4 lines, then second quatrain, that is next 4 lines, then third quatrain, that is the next 4 lines, and at last it has 2 lines which is called concluding couplet. So English or Shakespearean sonnet concludes with a couplet. Next, number 6. The rhyme scheme of octave in Italian sonnet is. The options are ABBA, BBAA, next option ABAB, ABAB, next option ABBA, ABBA, last option ABCD, ABCD. We know that Italian sonnet falls into 2 parts, octave and sestet, and in octave we find a definite rhyme scheme and it is ABBA, ABBA. Now let's explain the rhyme scheme of Italian sonnet. So Italian or Petrarchan sonnet, it has 2 parts, octave, that is a stanza of 8 lines, and then sestet, that is a stanza of 6 lines, total 14 lines, and the rhyme scheme of octave, it is ABBA, ABBA, octave. This is the fixed rhyme scheme, and for sestet it may be CD, CD or other variations, but for octave it is fixed, ABBA, ABBA. So the right option is C, ABBA, ABBA. Next, number 7. John Keats, Milton, Thomas Gray and Wordsworth followed the pattern of dash sonnet. The options are English, Italian, none, Spenserian. We know that Keats, Milton, Thomas Gray and Wordsworth, all of them followed the pattern of Petrarch or Italian sonnet. So the right option is B, because all of them wrote sonnet patterned after Petrarch. So they are the followers of Italian or Petrarchan sonnet. So the right option is B. Next, number 8. The word sonnet is derived from the dash word sonetto. We know that sonnet comes from the Italian word sonetto. So the right option is D. Not English, Greek, Latin. It is Italian word sonetto, meaning a little sound or song. So 8, right option D. Next, question number 9. The structure of 3 quatrains and a couplet was first introduced by. The options are Dante, Spenser, Thomas Word, Henry Howard. In fact, 3 quatrains and a couplet, this is the structure of Shakespearean sonnet. But Shakespeare is not the originator of this form or structure. It was first originated by, obviously, Henry Howard or Earl of Surrey. So the right option is D, Henry Howard. Next, number 10. Who is the originator of sonnet in English literature? Actually, sonnet was first written in Italy and it was explored in Italy and it got popularity there, and with the advent of Renaissance, sonnet came to England, and in England, sonnet was first written by, obviously, Thomas Word and his contemporary Henry Howard. But the first one is Thomas Word. So the right option is D, Thomas Word, who blindly imitated the Italian form and structure. So the right option is D, Thomas Word. Next, number 11. Who is called the Earl of Surrey? The Earl of Surrey is none but Henry Howard, contemporary of Thomas Word. So the right option is D, Henry Howard or the Earl of Surrey, and he is the originator of Shakespearean form or structure because he first introduced 3 quatrains and a couplet in English literature. Next, number 12. The most prominent Italian sonneteer was. In fact, sonnet was first written by Giacomo da Lentini, and then Dante got popularity, and there were many more sonnetiers in Italy, but of them all, Petrarch was the greatest practitioner, after whom Italian sonnet was named. So, the most prominent Italian sonneteer was obviously Petrarch, after whom Italian sonnet was named as Petrarchan sonnet. Next, number 13. Shakespeare's sonnets are in the following form. The options are 3 quatrains and a couplet, an octave and a sestet, both 1 and 2, 2 quatrains and a sestet. We know that just sestet and octave are to be found in Italian sonnet. So, these 2 options can't be opted, and see, both this is also not the right option. So, the right option is 3 quatrains and a couplet. Let's see. English or Shakespearean sonnet has total 4 parts, that is 3 quatrains and a couplet. First 4 lines, first quatrain, then next 4 lines, second quatrain, then next 4 lines, third quatrain, and the remaining or last 2 lines, it is called concluding couplet. So, Shakespearean sonnet, it has total 4 parts. First quatrain, second quatrain, third quatrain equal to 3 quatrains and a concluding couplet. So, 13A, 3 quatrains and a couplet. Next, number 14. Octave is a stanza of. The options are 4 lines, 5 lines, 6 lines, 8 lines. We know that Italian sonnet falls into two parts, octave and sestet. First 8 lines it is called octave, and the remaining 6 lines it is called sestet. So 8 lines equal to octave. Octave equal to a stanza of 8 lines. So the right option is D, 8 lines. Next, number 15. Shakespeare is called the dash of Avon. In fact, Shakespeare was born in the village named Stratford upon Avon, and Avon is the name of a river of that village. And Shakespeare is called the Bard of Avon, and the spelling is obviously B-A-R-D, not B-I-R-D. B-A-R-D, Bard means singer or poet. So the right option is B, because Shakespeare is called the Bard of Avon. Next, number 16. Shakespeare died in. The options are 1600, 1646, then 1615, then 1616. We know the lifespan of Shakespeare. It is from 1564 to 1616. So he died in 1616. So the right option is D, 1616. Next, question number 17. Shakespeare's sonnet number 73 addresses to. The options are W.H., Dark Lady, Cupid, Time. Actually, Shakespeare wrote total 154 sonnets, and from 1 to 126, these sonnets are addressed to a young man. He may be either W.H. or H.W. If he is W.H., then the person is William Herbert, Earl of Pembroke, or if he is H.W., then the name is Henry Wriothesley, Earl of Southampton. And the person, whoever he may be, he is the patron friend who helped the poet. Next, from 127 to 152, these sonnets are addressed to a woman known as Dark Lady. Her identity is also in mystery. And the last two sonnets, that is 153 and 154, are addressed to Cupid, the god of love. So these are the sonnets of Shakespeare's. So the right option is obviously A, W.H., William Herbert, or Earl of Pembroke. Next, question number 18. How many sonnets are composed by Shakespeare? We know that Shakespeare composed total 154 sonnets, which fall into three parts. That is, from 1 to 126 are addressed to a young man named W.H. or H.W., and from 127 to 152 to a woman known as Dark Lady, and the last two sonnets are addressed to the god of love, Cupid. So the right option is A, 154. Then number 19. Identify the rhyme pattern of the Shakespearean sonnet. The options are ABAB, CDCD, EAPF, GG, then ABBA, ABBA, CDDC, GG, then ABAB, CDCD, DED, FF, last one ABAB, BCBC, CDCD, EE. Actually, Shakespearean sonnet consists of 3 quatrains and a couplet. So the rhyme scheme of Shakespearean sonnet, for the first quatrain we find ABAB, and for the second quatrain we find CDCD, and for the third quatrain we find EAPF, and for the concluding couplet we find GG. So the rhyme scheme of Shakespearean sonnet or English sonnet, it is first quatrain ABAB, then CDCD, then EFEF and GG. So total there are 7 rhymes: ABAB, CDCD, EFEF, GG. So the right option is A. Next, W.H. was the Earl of. The options are Southampton, Pembroke, London, Yorkshire. We know that Shakespearean sonnets from 1 to 126 are addressed to a young man whose identity is in mystery. He may be either W.S. William Herbert, Earl of Pembroke, or H.W. Henry Wriothesley, Earl of Southampton. So, W is equal to Earl of, obviously, Pembroke. So, the right option is B, Earl of Pembroke, and H.W. Earl of Southampton. Then, 21. In sonnet number 18, Shakespeare glorifies the beauty of. We know that Shakespearean sonnet number 18 is the glorification of the physical beauty of his friend W.S. or H.W. So, Shakespeare glorifies the beauty of, obviously, his friend, not summer, the sun, or birds of May. It's the glorification of the physical beauty of his friend. So, the right option is C, 21C. Next, 22. But thy eternal summer shall not fade. Here, thy refers to. The options are Shakespeare, the sun, Shakespeare's friend, the season of summer. Obviously, it is the eternal summer of his friend W.S. or H.W. So, the right option is C, Shakespeare's friend. Because according to Shakespeare, his friend possesses eternal summer or eternal beauty, whereas the beauty of nature or the natural summer is temporary. Next, 23. The eye of heaven in sonnet number 18 refers to. The options are the sun, the moon, the poet, the clouds. Let's see the full line. And summer's leaves hath all too short a death, sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. So, eye of heaven means obviously the sun. And this is a rhetorical expression. It means the sun. So, the right option is A, 23A, the sun. Next, 24. So long lives this and this gives life to thee. Here this refers to. Actually, this is a part of the couplet. The two lines are, so long as man can breathe or eyes can see. So long lives this and this gives life to thee. So here this refers to, obviously, his poetry, which will immortalize his friend or the physical beauty of his friend. So here this refers to, obviously, poetry or art. Option A, not the sun or his friend or the season of summer. It is obviously poetry or art, because we know the proverb, art is long, life is short, because art is immortal and his friend is immortalized through immortal art. So the right option is poetry or art, A. Next, 25. Shakespeare in sonnet number 18 says that death has no control over. The options are the young person, beauty, poetry or art, natural beauty. We know that Shakespeare stresses that art is immortal, and that's why in this sonnet he immortalizes or eternalizes his friend's beauty through art or poetry. So the right option is obviously C, poetry or art, because poetry or art is beyond the reach or grip of time and death. Death has no power or no control over poetry or art. That's why art is long or immortal or everlasting. Next, 26. And every fair from fair sometime declines. Rhetorically, this is an example of. The options are climax, metaphor, interrogation, pun. Climax, we know, a series of words or phrases arranged in an ascending order of importance. Metaphor, implied comparison. Interrogation, a question is asked but the answer is implied within the very question. For example, the opening line, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And pun, we know, in a pun there is the duplicity of meaning under the unity of sound, and herein also we find the duplicity of meaning under the unity of sound, and the sound is here fair, F-A-I-R, and the same sound but the meaning is different. First fair means fair object, and the next term fair means fairness or beauty. So single word, dual meaning. So it is called pun. So the right option is D, pun. Duplicity of meaning under the unity of sound. Next 27. Summer's lease hath all too short a date. Here lease is a. The options are legal image, commercial image, image from nature, financial image. And this question was selected in WBSLST in 2016 at the 11-12 level. The right option is obviously A, legal image. Why legal image? Because lease, we know, lease means a kind of contract between two persons. So the term is related to court or law. So it's a legal image. Next 28. The phrase gold complexion is applied to. The options are a flower, the poet's friend, the birds, the sun. And the full line is rough winds do shake the darling birds of May, and summer's leaves had all too short a death. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. So here gold complexion refers to the golden rays of the sun. So gold complexion is applied to obviously the sun. So the right option is D. Next 29. The month mentioned in sonnet number 18 is, the options are May, December, October, June. We know the line, rough winds do shake the darling birds of May. That is season of spring. So the right option is A, May. The month mentioned is obviously May. Next, last one. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines. Rhetorically, this is an example of, the options are simile. We know simile, an explicit comparison between two different things or objects or ideas. Then pun, we know, duplicity of meaning under the unity of sound. Then circumlocution or periphrasis. Then personification. So this is obviously circumlocution or periphrasis, because we know in a periphrasis or circumlocution something is expressed in a roundabout way instead of being plainly stated, and herein also the eye of heaven equal to the sun, and this idea is expressed in a roundabout way. So this is obviously circumlocution or periphrasis. Similarly, sleep, sleep that knows no breaking means death. This is also periphrasis or circumlocution. Or the light militia of the lower sky, that is the sylphs, as Pope describes in the Rape of the Lock. So this is also periphrasis or circumlocution. So herein also we find periphrasis or circumlocution. So the right option is C, circumlocution, because here the idea, that is the sun, it is exposed in a roundabout way. So completed all the questions.